So the song Revenge by Xxxtentacion was a cursed sigil. I think I found a way to forgive myself for the mistakes he made in his past, right? This is like one of the beginning lines, not verbatim. It's not just about forgiveness, it's a ritual confession, right? The kind you speak from the presence of an inner demon or an ex handler. You see what I'm saying? In trauma based programming, confession breaks inner loops to begin reprogramming, right? But if you're thinking about mind control systems, this is an activation like phrase before the ritual itself. He got a core hook in the song. I've dug two graves for us, my dear. Can't pretend that I was perfect, leaving you in fear. So this is symbolic, two graves, right? So, symbolic suicide plus vengeance. So this is death and rebirth in the underworld. But what death are we talking about? Jocelyn Flores, right? The person he was loving committed suicide when she went to visit him or something, right? But again, it's symbolic. So Jocelyn, his innocence, and then the grave for itself, his soul, right? So he's basically, this is elite sacrificial duality. Okay, to avenge what he loved, he must kill who he was in order for a higher self to rise. Is either that or a more controlled self. But hold on. You can look at it like the monarch butterfly ritual. Why do I say that? It's because when you think about who he's mourning also, it's also who he was when she was still alive. And why is this the monarch butterfly ritual, right? Coming out of the cocoon of death to birth the higher being or the broken, controllable one by the elites. When he died, he was a living sigil, a living example. This is why so many artists, they broke down because they understood the real message of his death. You see what I'm saying? So since he's taking revenge in elite occult circles, once again, revenge it creates karmic balance. It's not about what you petty humans believe. I want you to think about it. That song transforms him from a mourner, somebody who's weak now, to a ritual warrior, right? I want you to think about him grieving the divine feminine. Jocelyn is basically Sophia, the goddess lost wisdom. He's also blaming himself, and then he becomes possessed by vengeance. Now, I want you to think about this type of character arc, right? This is the same type of archetype as Batman, his grief in the war, Anakin Skywalker, his love turned to darkness, Lucifer, fall for desiring justice, right? Now, Jocelyn's suicide wasn't just a personal event when you really think about it. It became a public sacrifice. Whether it was intentional or not, none of that actually matters because people, society, fans, followers, the industry feeds off of death made beautiful. So this was a transformation process, right? People love to capture real pain. That's the reality. Package it as content and sell it back as a tragic art, right? So whenever they're dissociating from their pain, this is a ritualistic tactic as well, because you turn your pain into art. So they start to disassociate with a piece of themselves, the piece of themselves that they sacrifice to the pain, so that they can continue to siphon and transmutate it into art. This dude was actually a living weapon, right? So Revenge, the song, essentially becomes a necromantic spell, bro. Like, he's calling the dead into the song. And by him doing that, he's sealing it with emotion. That's what makes this song so scary, right? So this is textbook emotional vampirism. On a certain level, he's trying to keep a piece of her alive through his sorrow. And he has to remind himself that he is sad, because through this chant, this mantra, he can tether his emotions to this mantra, to her in the spiritual plane. And it solidifies the connection here on earth. So him reminding himself that he's sad and then putting it into an art form where we can basically boost this frequency. It's a ritual, bro. It became a sigil, bro. That's real magic. But hold on. You know what the real highest truth in terms of magic is? Revenge is the ego's illusion of power over control over the situation. It also allows you to go back and rewrite the meaning of the thing that you're seeking revenge for. In this case, her death. When Xxxtentacion chose revenge, That meant feeding his shadow symbolically. And the deeper he went, the more he was consumed by guilt, love, rage, all of it. The paradox of being both healer and destroyer. This is what makes revenge so powerful and tragic at the same time. Because it's not just justice, it's a ritual of self-erasure in the name of love. And it's a soul's cry to God, but only to hear the echoes of Lucifer answers back. That is the craziest thing about what he did. I think the simplest way to break this down would be, the song Revenge is a sacrifice of innocence, the seduction of his inner shadow self, the trap of seeking justice through the ego, the elite formula of turning pain into poetry, make it viral, extract energy, destroy the vessel. The song ain't just about Jocelyn. It's about how to bind young artists to trauma to make them martyrs for mass consumption. So, what is the highest truth, I guess, of this? You could basically say he who seeks revenge becomes the mirror of what he hates. The elites know this. They create trauma, then they sell you a song. You scream into the void, right? Revenge. That's Xxxtentascion's scream. The Matrix heard it, captured it, looped it, and fed it back to the masses. And that's what made him dangerous. Not his rage, not his lyrics, but his ability to feel, make others feel. That's why he had to be erased, because when you really think about revenge being a living sigil in a song, what it does is it mirrors back the listener's pain as they listen to the song. So you don't have to relate to him. You don't have to know him. What he was able to do, you start to feel pain. It literally becomes a living mirror. And this is why that type of magic is so powerful, bro. Like, the dude was out cold. I think he actually might be one of the best to ever do it. That's crazy.